Bobby.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I hate hearing my voice, but Yahuah, we thank you for this day that you have allowed us to come and dine at your spiritual and holy table. We ask, Father, that you help us to do great things as though they were little, since we will do them with your power, your strength, and your understanding. And little things as though they were great, since we do them in your name. And today we want to thank you for allowing us to hear the word, but also engulf the word in our spirits so that we can go out and minister to those who may not hear this word. We thank you for the body that has gathered today to hear the word, to minister the word, and to understand it. And we thank you for the teacher that is about to deliver it. And Father, all these things we ask in your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach's name. And so it is.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So again, welcome and Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat shalom.
everyone. We're gonna go,
Shalom.
gonna jump right in today. And today we're gonna talk about knowing yourself. How many of you think that you know yourself? Do you believe that you have a good grasp on knowing yourself?
I can say I know myself right now. I don't know the person that I'm going to be maybe 6 months, 8 months. I don't because it'll be an everlasting change until I guess I get to understanding who I am in him.
Mhm.
Um I had that conversation with my wife yesterday about knowing that we've changed. 5 years ago, I wasn't this person right here. Um 11 years ago, I wasn't this person. So it's going to be a changing, I think, for the better because now I'm getting to know who he is in me. And so I'm trying to get to know him so that I can know who I am. And I think
Okay.
that's where I will know who I am when I get to fully understand it.
All right. Anyone else? How do you feel about your level of comfort in knowing yourself, say on a scale of 1 to 10?
I say a 6.
All right. Anyone else?
I say I say a 5. I think other people get to see a different portrait of ourselves than we see in see ours than we see from our own perspectives. It's like when somebody is looking at you from the outside, they can see things that you may not see, although although you may recognize that there may be some things about you that are good strengths, some may be bad in terms of weak strengths.
Okay. Anyone else?
I too would say probably about a 5. Because I feel like I'm growing each and every day. So with that being said, that I'm changing. Um, and so to keep up with the changes that are being made within me and through me, uh, I sit and um, appreciate with what changes that I do make and I do see and I do recognize.
Okay. All right. Good. Um, so let's talk a little bit about let's go to some scriptures. I'm going to start with First Corinthians 11:17 through 34. You guys see sword on my screen? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
All right.
tiny.
Hold on. Shoot. All right. Would someone read that for us? 1 Corinthians 11:17-34.
And if some of the branches be broken off, and you being a
No,
wild
no,
broken,
no. 1 Corinthians.
oh, I'm sorry, that's
I'm
wrong. I'm
showing it on
sorry.
the screen
I'm
now.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's small on your end.
Mhm.
All right, it says, now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not that you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you. When you come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat Yahuwah's supper. For in eating, everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry, and another is drunken. What have you not? What have you not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise you the church of Elohim, and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not. For I have received of the master that which also I delivered unto you, that the master Yahusha, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the master's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the master unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the master. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the master's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the master, that we should not be condemned with the world. Wherefore, my brethren, when you come together to eat, tarry one for another. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that you come not together unto condemnation, and the rest will I set in order when I come.
All right, yeah, and that says so much. I don't know if you guys are getting a lot, but we're not going to. I want to. I'm going to be doing another lesson regarding this, and this the meaning of this supper and what really took place and what takes place. But I wanted to bring this out mainly to concentrate on First Corinthians 11 26 forward, um, and examining ourselves as it states in verse 28. So when we examine ourselves, going back to what I said earlier before I started recording, in regards to what would Yahusha do regarding the matters of this world and the situations and trials and tribulations that we find ourselves in, when we examine ourselves and then go to the word and hear what he's saying to us regarding his body and what his body has gone through and doing things in the remembrance of him, what should govern how we respond to certain situations. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Agree.
So if we examine ourselves and then eat of the bread and drink of the cup, which is in remembrance of him, which he is the body, the entire body, and we do so um, because we say that we are of his body, and then we show something different than of his body, what are we doing?
We're being
Hypocrisy.
hypocrites.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, then damnation comes, upon us, because we're not doing those things and discerning those things of his body. So that's important for us to know, and getting to know ourselves and judging ourselves as it states in 1131. And we've talked about this a bit before, and we're going to continue to talk about this, because when we judge ourselves, we should not be judged. The day of judgment is the same thing. Those that came out and understood certain things before, or those of the first fruits, already judged themselves. They were already judged. So there is no judgment against them, because the judgment has already taken place when we've come out and started serving our Creator in spirit and in truth before the masses and before those of the broad and wide gate that lead them to destruction of their minds and thoughts and understanding of everything that we've already gone through. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, and I say but lightly, because there's, some people that say that they've come out, some people that say that they are not being judged, but then we know that those that are out and in the wilderness, or some of them are lukewarm, right? Everyone doesn't know themselves, or getting to know themselves, as you guys were stating. On a scale of 1 to 10, you may feel like, number 5, you're getting to know yourself, or 6 or 7, getting to know yourself and understanding all these things regarding our Creator and how we operate in him. Because what we tend to do is vacillate back and forth between righteousness and unrighteousness. And when we feel like, just like those in the Christian church and everywhere else, you're going to be righteous for a second, or appear to be righteous for a second, and then on the other hand, you're not. Right? And not with condemnation. So, we don't come to condemn each other, but to recognize within ourselves. That's the judgment in itself. When we recognize, oh my gosh, I made a bad decision, or I should not have said that or done that. I apologize. That's the perfection in Yahuah. It's not that you're not going to do anything incorrect or wrong, but the perfection is in understanding and repenting and recognizing those things. That's perfect. That's the perfection. Now, the Christian world and other religions will teach you something totally different. And their level of perfection, as you've heard me say, is not the perfection of the Most High whatsoever. So the perfection of this world in regards to the natural world and Christianity and others, their perfection is to condemn you, condemn you, condemn you,
Yes,
and place themselves above you.
big time.
That's what they do. Just like Quest was, I mean, not Quest, Bobby was talking about regarding the young lady in regards to her wanting to or questioning things about her faith at her church. Because the pastor calls them in to see why they're not paying tithes and offerings because that's his paycheck. He's looking to see when he can buy the next, whatever he wants for his house or the next houses or the next jet or whatever he wants to do. And he wants to condemn you to bring forth some money into his pockets. That's what this world has done, not just from that financial perspective, but everything else from race, religion to where you live, what country you're from, how light or dark skinned you are, how big, tall, fat, short, your gender, all of those things. They will find a way to condemn you and use the tools of this word to do so because you don't know yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know that identity of who you are, as we were speaking about the last few weeks. And when you don't know yourself, you fall prey to it, just like those in those churches. They don't know the word. They don't understand who our creator is. And when you don't know, you will let other people you will fall prey to other predators that will, that will come in and take control of you. And that's what has happened to the masses. Are you guys seeing that?
On a daily basis?
So when we judge ourselves and we talk about being set apart, right? And this is something else I really didn't plan to get into much of this, but we're going to talk about it later as well. We say that we're set apart from what? Set apart from the world. Yet many vacillate between being set apart for righteousness' sake, and then they want to be around their friends. Your friends are the ones that you're supposed to be set apart from because they're not really your friends.
Right.
Your friends should be the ones that you gather with, that you understand and know the same understanding of Yahuah and Yahusha, your spiritual body, are the ones that people really wind up setting themselves apart from, which is a problem in itself. We say one thing and yet we do another. So that's, something that we all, everyone needs to look at themselves and seeing that who is my family? Who is the body that I represent? What do I stand for? I need to judge myself on this because sometimes I'm in these situations with other people because I'm a people pleaser or because I want to be liked by them that, I'm going to place myself in this position. And guess what? Hell comes upon you. You wind up paying the price in some form or fashion, thinking that you just wanted them to like you or be your friend or be the family member that everybody loves and all that kind of stuff. When the Most High has told us in his word, no, that's not how it's going down. If you are of my body and you are truly set apart, you are going to go through what I have been going through. And that is not what he's been going through by befriending the world. By being part of the genetics of everyone else that, like we're seeing now, a lot of people are, especially of Yahudah, that are all into their blackness, all into the brotherhood all of a sudden, by blood, but not by spirit. That's a problem. And that's for any race. That's for any belief in any way that stands out when it's not of the Spirit of the Most High. So we have to make sure that, one, we look at ourselves, judge ourselves accordingly. Using like the example I gave about a month or so ago about, me and the driving and, and the woman in the parking lot and all of those things. Sometimes we got to quickly judge ourselves. That's the perfection and understanding and repenting and the judgment that comes before us, because if we truly say that we're keeping the two greatest commandments, we should be treating others the way that we want to be treated. I know if I've done something wrong to someone and I've repented and said something, yet they're still coming at me hard and crazy and condemning me, that's a problem. Wouldn't you say? Oh, now it's quiet. Nobody can hear me.
Yeah.
Hello? Is anybody there?
I would say.
So yeah, we got to look at ourselves when it comes to these matters, in what we're doing. And I know I'm speaking to y'all. That's how quiet that, I'm taking it, the quietness is because I'm hitting home somewhere. If not, tell me otherwise.
Yeah, you know.
So, we all have to make sure that in getting to know ourselves and knowing our Creator, and we are of His one body, that we have to judge ourselves. The only way that we can keep those two greatest commandments is by judging ourselves, looking at ourselves, and examining ourselves instead of examining everything else outside of us. Looking at the plank in someone else's eye, or looking at the speck in someone else's eye when you got a plank in your own.
Yeah.
Look at yourself.
That really spoke to me, because I had a situation like that yesterday where a young man was telling me that somebody told me that I could do something. And I kept saying, no, we can't. I don't, have that, da-da-da. And it got to the point where he was frustrated. And so I was trying to tell him, like, look, when you wrong, admit it. So he walks out of the classroom because the bell rings. So I go to another teacher and say, hey, he was trying to yell and such because he said I could do something. She said, Bobby, he right. Let me show you. So when she showed me, I instantly went to him and said, hey, man, my fault. I apologize. Here's the information you wanted. To see the look in his face for me to say I apologize was real huge for him.
Exactly.
But one thing I'm going to do on Monday is I'm going to do it in front of the class so that they can see I'm admitting I'm wrong. I'm not such a bad person or a bad teacher because I want y'all to be right. I just need to let y'all know that when I'm wrong, I'm going to make amends with it. And I'm going to ask him to tell me was I right or wrong in terms of, hey, didn't I come to you? So they could see that it's okay, though, when you get there and still admit you're wrong. Because I didn't know that we had that, ability to do what he was asking me to do because it was never told to me. But when I found out, I had to make it right because I want that kid to come to class.
All right. So imagine if everyone that had wronged you came and did that and repented and made it right. Just imagine that. I mean, we've all have been subjected to people that have wronged us. Am I correct?
Yes.
If those same people came back and really repented, understanding, because they judge themselves now, they now know that they've done you wrong, how would that make you feel?
I would be appreciative of it, but it also would make me think and feel that I need to step up my game too. Although I do that anyway. Because if I feel like I've wronged somebody, I will go back and tell them, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, forgive me. I will do that. So, but yeah.
Right. So humility is a part of the characteristics of our Creator, right? And if we are
Yeah.
of our Creator, we are to be humble in our approach and in our understanding of other people. And when someone has wronged us, or when we have wronged someone else, that we do the right thing. What would Yahusha do? The right thing that Yahusha would do is humble himself and and state the case, just like what Bobby said that he's doing or has done and is doing with this situation. That's what we are to do. Humbling yourself is not an easy experience for most. We see the arrogance, we see the everything that's just totally opposite or contrary to what is humble, by being arrogant and uh making them their egos and everything else that comes to the forefront. Even with our parents, imagine how many times your parents were wrong when they said or beat you for something that you didn't do, or whatever the case may be. But they come back and apologize or say, I was wrong for that. Many don't do that.
No.
You have many parents that will scold their children or say something, and not only just to their children, but to the teachers. Bobby experiences this all the time, when instead of the parents doing the right thing by their child, they come and defend their child in a wrongful action, and definitely don't repent. They come and bring forth more fire unnecessarily, more hell. But if they were to come and handle the situation from the way Yahusha would handle it, how would that help the school? How would that help the teachers? How would that help the classroom? How would that help that child? But now we're seeing something totally different, like Bobby was pointing out. We're seeing parents that don't take the side of righteousness whatsoever. They nurture negative behavior, and then that brings forth the manifestation of all the things that come after it. All the hell that breaks loose in the school, the mass shootings, the teachers being disrespected, teachers getting hit upside the head from a child, all of that kind of stuff, with the parents doing nothing, or with the school board or superintendent or the government or the community doing nothing. We see the impact and the manifestation of these things when we let things go the opposite way. I remember coming up as a child, when you did something wrong, the teachers, parents, and others, not all of them, of course, but there was a good amount of teachers and parents and principals, vice principals. After they beat you behind or whatever, you had to apologize. Mm-hmm. You had to humble yourself before the person that you wronged and apologize.
Yeah.
Do you guys not recall that ever in your life when you were younger?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That has gone out the window.
Yeah.
No one, now has to apologize, humble themselves before anyone else to, and they just go forth with their wrongful doings. Even if they take a punishment, they are not made to humble themselves and apologize. That's a problem. So we know that Yahuah and Yahusha is going to make people bow down and repent for those wrongful things that they've done against him, by idling worship, idol worship to other gods and ministries and all these things that came against him. And the bowing down is not literal, like most people think. Nobody's going to have to drop to their knees and break their knees on the ground to bow down. But the bowing down is understanding that you have done something wrong. The judgment comes against you, and in your mind and in your understanding that now you must repent and humble yourself to the Most High. Now they're going to hear those people that have been speaking this truth and spitting the truth that they did not want to hear before. Those are things that we're seeing, taking place now. Again, I can tell you 10 years ago, we did not see this many people getting to know who Yahuah and Yahusha are. people coming out of the church. What is that going to do? As they continue to come out the church, guess what? Those churches will be desolate. We see the abomination of desolation taking place. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So now, just like you have repented, or most of us, when we've come out of her, just as, I was writing, even doing those lessons on the reason why we're here. I mean, I boo-hooed and cried and everything else in my repentance, and understood how wrongfully I was in what I did by serving another God.
Yeah.
And if we took that same approach with one another, guess how life would be? It wouldn't be like how it is here in the divided snakes, the way that it stands now.
Yeah, true.
So keep that in mind as far as getting to know yourself and question yourself, examine yourself, analyze yourself when you're doing something, specifically towards someone else, or when a situation presents itself to you. What would Yahusha do? What is the righteous thing to do? How should I address this matter? Instead of being pissed off and pissed on, how should I address this matter? Take a step back, count to 10, count to 100, count to 1,000, whatever it takes to see how we need to address this matter. Again, I've told you guys this, I believe in disciplining a child and all that. I don't believe in just beating on some child when you're angry. I think that's foolish. It's disrespectful, and it has no place in true discipline. Because you can hurt yourself, you can hurt the child, you can hurt a lot of things, all because you're angry.
Yeah.
And then is that a characteristic of our Creator? No, he's slow to anger. Be slow to anger. Why are you so angry? Know yourself. Question you. Stop questioning everyone else and question yourself. Take a look inside at that man in the mirror. Why am I so mad at this? The world is going to do what it's going to do. People are going to do what they do. Why are you really so angry and so upset at this situation that has confronted you? It's because you really don't know who you are.
Identity crisis.
Yes.
So in getting to know yourself, you need to question yourself, examine yourself, judge yourself. Again, think of the way that the world is so quick to judge you. Everybody can see that plain as day. We can see the condemnation of the world against you, but you can't see when you are part of it. And you do the same thing. So keep those things in mind as these things arise in our lives, because they're going to be there. They're not going away. We're still going to be in the world, but not of it.
Right.
But how do we address one another? Are you guys getting anything out of that?
Yes. I have a question. So, several times while I'm at the desk, and there's a guest that comes and they're complaining about certain things that happen, and I take it upon myself to say, well, because I guess I'm part of that company, I say, well, I'm sorry that this happened to you. Let's see what we can do to try to make it right. That's not my job to do that, but I feel as far as being right and being fair, that I could say that, although go back and they do, upper management or what have you, they do what they do continually. So am I just in vain by keep apologizing to the guests because they got wrong?
No, you're not. So, you're doing what we all should be doing in that regard. And that is going over and beyond. I can tell you, you guys have heard me, talk about, I'm big on customer service. I'm big on people treating you the way that they want to be treated or treating you the best way possible. I want a good experience when I go somewhere. When I go into a restaurant, when I go into a hotel, when I go into your house, when you come into my house, that's how I treat you.
Yeah.
So when we treat each other in that manner, we should be going over and beyond to make sure that a person feels comfortable. There's a level of hospitality, a level of respect, a level of love that we give to other people, and they should want to be around us. They should want to come back, whether it's to your hotel, whether it's to your restaurant, whether it's to your airline, whatever the situation may be. We should go over and beyond. So when we even do our job, we should do it effectively. I don't care whether you're a school teacher, go over and beyond. I love some of my teachers of the past. Some of them went over and beyond what any of these teachers would do today. They didn't get paid for it. They didn't get recognized for it. I recognize it. But today we got a bunch of half-assed people, half-assed parents that are not going over and beyond. They do the bare minimum at everything they do. And it shows. And there's an impact and effect to that. I can tell you just the day before yesterday, I had an experience with y'all, Judah, up in a restaurant at Zaxby's actually here. And I know that it was just because I was black. We treat our own the worst, which is a problem.
Yeah.
But she picked the wrong one. And by that, I mean, and I wasn't rude or whatever, but I let her know what she was dealing with. I come in, I ordered something, and there was this chicken, these chicken tacos. And she said, "Which flavor do you want?" No, she said, no, I didn't know that they had more than one flavor. So she said, "Well, which one do you want?" I said, "Oh, which one do you have?" "I know you're not asking me that." That's what she
Oh
said.
my gosh.
Right. "I know you're not asking me that." Now, the language I really want to use right now is I'm
Go
not going to use.
ahead. Oh wow.
But so I looked at her crazy. I said, "Well, surely you want to, you want to do the right thing and do your job." "Yes, I'm asking you. I'm the customer." But she thought that she was going to talk to me any kind of way because apparently she's used to this in her environment where she talks to people any old kind of way and you're supposed to accept it. I snapped back at her in a respectful way, but I snapped back at her and it calmed her behind down eventually. And even with, after she rung it up and, I told her which one that I wanted, she rung it up, didn't tell me the total or anything, bare minimum. And this woman was probably the manager. Usually I would have gone overboard, taken it to, I would have called up Zaxby's at the head office, let them know what they got working in store number, whatever. Y'all need to address it.
Yeah.
But she knew that. See, she was smart enough to know that, who she was dealing with. Oh, he gonna tell on my behind. So then she got herself together. She pulled herself together real quick and started treating me like she had some damn sense. Because she knew she had the wrong one. I wasn't the one to sit there and take that. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not going to get away with that. This is what our own people do to one another. This is not how we are to behave. So hopefully now she knows, because you don't know who's coming at you. She's probably going to try the next person like that. Hopefully she doesn't, because she ain't gonna know who's on the other end of that, who's inside that body, that person on the other side of the counter.
Yeah.
So it should make you more in tune to, no, you need to do the right thing, know how to do your job, and talk to people like you got some sense and treat others the way you want to be treated. But we, again, too often we're seeing these types of situations arise, and the way that I handled, because I didn't call in no names and all of that, even though it was probably in my head too. um, but what I was really frustrated about was that you just totally disrespected me. You devalued who I am as a person in your head, and you feel like you can just disrespect me and get away with it. No, that ain't happening, partner. It ain't happening. So there are ways to handle these matters to get your point across, and it doesn't have to be, disrespectful. Sometimes you got to meet people where they are. My voice got elevated because that's when you're gonna hear me. See, these are things that some people would say that's not of Yahuah and Yahusha. Yes, it is. You don't read your scriptures at all. So understanding these things, brings forth one, the respect.
You know who was before her.
I don't care if you don't like me. I really don't. But what I do care about is that you're going to respect me.
Amen.
And with the respect, knows that, the respect comes out of love. Your liking is something else. And Christianity and all that teaches that like, huggy, coddle, negative behavior or whatever.
Blackity black.
Exactly. But when we start to care more about ourselves and examining ourselves and helping others to examine themselves, because guess what? Oh, she took an inventory of herself after she saw who she was dealing with. She quickly had to identify that, oh, I'm about to lose my job. So keep those things in mind, when people come at you, whether it's family, friends, so-called, colleagues, all of that. We have to understand what we're up against and then how to handle those situations. All right. Does that make sense? And it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that your voice won't get elevated, because a lot of times it will. You're going to have to get real serious. You got to know your audience at all times. You don't have to disrespect somebody, but you got to let them know so that they can respect you. What a person doesn't respect is a simp, someone who cowers down or whatever, that lets them now have control over you. Does that make sense?
It do.
And just like I've explained before, I told you guys when I was in the sixth grade, when this bully kept bothering me or whatever, until I beat him up, then I got all the respect in the world. He wanted to be my best friend. That's crazy as I don't know what, but that's what bullies do. When you kick their behind, they want to be your best friend.
And that makes no sense.
But that's what happens. Because now you're gonna have to respect me. But look at it. I mean, that's the same thing that the Most High is doing to his son, to those that have disrespected him. That's what he's done to Judah. By chastising and making sure that you're not gonna do this to me. If you do, guess what? I'm gonna put you through something. I'm gonna let the world have its way with you. You're gonna come crawling back to me and you will repent. Because you're gonna remember. see, the problem is, like, with going back to what, Bobby's
Pride.
situation in the
It
school and
becomes
all.
a pride such type of mindset.
Yeah, but what goes on with these kids in the school situation is that, just like with this recent um, um, killing down here again in the schools, um,
Damn.
there are these kids. There is no repercussion for their actions, really. I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
And in addition to that, it's not just the repercussions. There's a lack of love. There's a lack of respect. There's a lack of a lot of things. These kids are crying out in a lot of ways,
yeah,
and the people have been absent-minded to what's really going on. That's a problem.
it is.
And I don't care what color you are, black, white, whatever. You see that this is a major problem going on in our communities. Why would a child have a gun? Because they just found a couple more kids that had guns just yesterday. They were reporting on it in the school. A gun? Really? A kid in middle school and in elementary school with a gun? When I was in school, that I ain't never heard of nobody having no gun in
I
school.
know.
So what has happened between then and now? That's what has to be analyzed and looked at. Look at the parents. Look at all of the other situations leading up to now. How parents are now. How the schools and teachers are
Disconnected.
now.
Everybody's disconnected.
Exactly. There is no love. These kids are crying out. Kids always cry out. Just like a wounded animal. If you love that animal, he will love you. Like I talked about, was a lion, cub, or tiger. Whatever. They will grow up. They will love you. They will never cause harm to you or anything else. The same thing with us. If you love me, keep my commandments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I saw a kid, I say he's probably about 6, maybe 5 or
Mm-hmm.
6.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling his mom come to get packages. And he was like, well, why did you get that, Mom? He said, well, what is that? And she was like, oh, it's some stuff that I ordered. He said, but why did you need to buy more stuff like that? She said, oh, I just wanted it. He said, well, you didn't really need it. And I was like, wow. So your little baby is telling you how you need to act, and you showing another side of you as to how that child is supposed to grow up to be. But the child is telling her she was wrong for buying it, for spending money where she didn't really need to.
Yeah, and a lot of times, if parents did listen to their kids, they'll be better off.
Oh
Like
yeah,
in that situation, a lot of times children do know better than
yeah,
than a lot of these parents. That's why I would deal with the children. I don't even want to deal with the parents, because you can change the hearts and minds of children by listening, by taking
yeah.
responsibility and just interacting with them, which is what they're craving, the attention and the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge and the wisdom behind someone who really cares and gives a flip about them. I can tell you 90 something percent of the youth that I've ever encountered that have had major problems, it's always gone back to those in their lives, the situations that they've been in, why they feel the way that they do. And I wish Zay's was on here to talk about it, because I know, she's the counselor in the school system, and can speak to it on a lot of levels as well. um, or, domestic issues at home, a lot of times, things that are going on where kids feel like they need to be a part of something that's in the streets. Why do they feel like they need to be a part of something in the streets? Because it's not anything better at home. It's nowhere,
Right.
if you don't get it at home or somewhere else, you're gonna find something, and
Yeah.
something's gonna find you.
Yep.
But we don't want to address that as a community. We don't want to address it as a government. We don't want to address that in our households, because everybody's become so disconnected, thinking about themselves only. going back to that dollar and everything else, and basically selling your soul to Satan.
Exactly.
And
Not
there's a
only
price,
selling
and
your soul, but
there's a
they
price to
selling the
pay.
children too.
Huh?
Not only are they selling themselves, they're selling their children as well.
Exactly. Now you get to see what has happened and transpired over the generations of us. The spiritual impact of those things that has sold us out.
Yeah.
All right. Will somebody read Galatians 6:1-10 for me?
Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou be tempted. Bear ye one another's burden, and so fulfill the law of Christ, of your
Mashiach.
yeah. For if a man think himself to be something when he's nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, Yahuah is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That speaks volumes right there. For if he that soweth to his flesh shall
Of the flesh, reap corruption.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at, okay. Flesh reapeth corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
Mhm.
As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
Mhm.
Do I need to elaborate on that?
Mm.
Or what are you guys' thoughts on that?
That speaks volumes, that we are to treat one another like how we want to be treated. Because it's at the end of the day, it is coming back, whether it be good or bad.
The problem is a lot of times we want the immediate gratification, like I was saying earlier with so Satan is all about immediate gratification, not delayed gratification. You know, he wants it right now.
Yeah.
You're going to do this for me right now. And when that immediate gratification takes place, a lot of other corrupt mannerisms, a lot of corrupt behavior, a lot of corrupt evil and wickedness transpires in order for him to get what he wants right now. But when you come from the other side of that, like the situation I was talking about at Zach's piece, although I wanted, the behavior to change right now, I'm sowing into that person's life for what's going to take place later for them as well, and for the body. Because you need to know and understand what respect is, and you need to know what it is. When we let it go, if I was to let it go and sit down and said nothing, but let her treat me like a piece of street trash, what would that have done? It would allow her to treat everyone like that.
Mm-hmm. Until that wrong person would have came and because
And
people
probably pop
carry
some lead
guns
into her.
now and come and shoot the whole place up.
Exactly. So sometimes we don't see the benefits, and of the delayed gratification of, I can walk away and know that I said and did the right thing. And that's how we need to be able to be, even when we talk to our children, whether we make a decision or say something at work, doing the right thing, there's a price to pay. Are you willing to pay that price? Most people are not. Most people are afraid to pay the price because of what comes with that price. But then does that mean, do you have faith in your creator when he said that he would carry you? That you can do all things through him who strengthens you? Do you believe that, or are you just saying that because your actions show something else? Know yourself. Everybody wants to blame, and I'm sure you guys have heard, and you may have done it yourself. Why does God allow this to happen? Why does Yahuah let this happen? Why does, not knowing who Yahuah is, how he operates, but you never look at the bigger picture. You never look at, one, what has transpired? What have people done? What have you done to make certain things happen? What have your ancestors done to bring these things to come to pass? You don't want to look at that because you don't see the big picture. Had we not transgressed, or our ancestors or forefathers transgressed, guess what? The world would have never gone through all of this craziness that it goes through. There's a price to pay. And until you understand what that price is and what the price was, you'll continue in that frame of mind, which is a horrible frame of mind to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to James 1, verse 22 to 25. Actually, start from 19. I'm sorry. Would someone read that?
Mm-hmm.
Thou believest that there is one God. I'm sorry. Wherefore, I'm sorry. Let me read that back up. I'm sorry. You said James. Okay. Here we go. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath.
Read that again. Read that again, please.
Wherefore, my beloved brethren.
Slow down. Slow down.
Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear.
Swift to do who?
Hear.
Okay.
Slow to speak. Slow to wrath.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna let you. I want to say so much, but go ahead.
I was going to, yeah. But be ye doers of the word.
No, you skipped over two different.
I'm sorry. Ooh, I ain't got my glasses, so y'all hold with me. For the wrath of men, I don't working, not the righteousness of God, of Yahuah. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness, all super filthy, fluidity, of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engraft word, which is able to save your soul. For if any be
you skipped.
God dog. I'm sorry, hold on. No, I just did. I just read that one.
No,
be ye doers of the word, not Oh, okay. And not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Okay, now I'm here. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of a man he was. But whoso,
Damn.
that's crazy,
Ooh,
right?
that's deep.
Because when you look at, well, anyway, look up, let me finish it. But so whoever looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. If any man among you seem to be religious and brideth his not his tongue,
Bridleth
brideth
not his
not his
tongue.
tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religious is vain.
Mm.
Pure religion and undefiled before Yahuah and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widow in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world.
Mm.
Mm.
All right. So what do you guys gain from that in getting to know yourself?
Verse 19 reminds me of my mom used to always tell us, listen and don't talk. Don't talk. Just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, you won't overjump the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I could just hear her just as plain as day saying that
Mm-hmm.
again.
Exactly. Anyone else?
Verse 24, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was.
Hmm.
When we're looking in that mirror, we're deceiving ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Verse 23. You should have
Exactly.
started with 23, Bobby.
Yeah. For if he be a hearer of the word and not a doer,
Mm-hmm.
he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. A lot of times that glass can deceive us.
No, he's showing you the characteristics
Yeah.
that you're no longer God.
Mm-hmm. And even being that deceived, looking in that mirror. Yep.
But 24 tells you what you're seeing, right?
Exactly.
He beholdeth
Mm-hmm.
himself and goeth his way. So I'm gonna do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Straightway forget the manner which he is. The reflection, meaning that we were built in his image and his likeness. But when we forget about that, we forget who we are and whose we are.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Identity crisis.
Yep.
So that should be a reflection of one, when you can see your own image of who you are and knowing yourself and what is righteous. This is where judgment comes in within
Judge
you.
of yourself.
Again, you have to examine and judge yourself according to that which you see in the spirit of how you're behaving and what you're doing. What comes out of you is what's in you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people fool themselves with who they really are. We see this all the time. They give the appearance of being something that's holy, what they consider to be holy, or what they consider to be righteous, which is what righteousness is not at all. But they give the appearance of those things. And the Most High is dealing with that. And us individually and collectively. So are we seeing, some of the things that we need to take better look at and examining ourselves instead of looking at that speck in somebody else's eye all the time, like most of us may do, and look at ourselves. What could I have done differently in this situation? Do you know how many relationships if people sat down and discussed what could I do different? You know, people go to therapy and everything else, you know, marriage counseling and all these things. But a lot of times, if the two of you really want something within yourselves, with the two, with each other and with yourselves, you should be able to sit down and have honest conversation. But most people really don't feel like they can have honest conversation with their spouse or significant others or family or whoever or so-called friends even. That's a problem. And why is that the case? Because we see and understand some things that are different about them that sometimes is not aligned with who we are in our spirit. This is why a child knows who they can talk to and who they can't. They know who's going to hold them accountable to something and who's not.
There you go.
I saw my brother actually sent me a post, an Instagram post the other day of this kid, a little toddler, a little black toddler, that was told, it was like he was told to do something and he didn't want to do what, I don't know if the man was his father or I think it was his uncle or something. Said something to the kid and the kid didn't want to do it. His mother was not that far, she was, probably about 10, 12 feet away. The boy knew that the mother was there. He takes his head, hits it up against the wall, and acts like something happened to him and goes running to her for attention and to act like something. So he knew as a little toddler that how she was going to respond. And the uncle or whatever saying, no, that little N word is that little N word is he's crazy, he's evil, he's no, he's wrong. But that child knew. He even knew in his negative behavior what his mother would do to comfort his wrongful doing and not pay the price for that. That's a problem.
Big problem.
So, kids know. They know who's going to hold them accountable, who's not.
Right.
They feel you out. From the time they come out the womb, they are, their senses are feeling you out. They know things about you that you don't know about yourself. So keep those things in mind too, because you see those behaviors that come into play when by the time, they enter kindergarten. You see that. You can see how the mother is with her child, the father is with their child, and what goes on at home. You can see that if you pay attention. We can see that in someone, if you're dating someone or whatever. There's a lot of things you learn about a person, one, if you're quiet and listen to them. They will tell you who they are.
Sure will.
And then if you don't ask the right questions, then they will tell you what you want to hear. When you do ask the right questions, people that are going down the other path and want to give a false impression will tell you that, oh, why are you interviewing me? Why you made them feel uncomfortable. Someone that you can probably relate to, even if they'll be, well, no, let me take that back. They're not just uncomfortable. They're offended, not uncomfortable. They're offended. You may ask someone of the same faith or understanding of who you are, if you're dating or even friends, or you may bring something up. It's okay to be uncomfortable in a situation or with someone told you something, or you may not know how to react or respond because you're not necessarily accustomed to that situation or, know what to say at times. But you don't feel offended. Why would a person be offended by you asking a question? You ever ask your mother, father something, they act like they're offended? You ever ask someone at work something and they got offended? You ever go to a place of service, you ask a question and they get offended? That's a problem. same thing goes on in these places of so-called worship. You know, you ask, you know, the minister something or pastor something, they get offended. Why? Why would a house of worship be a place where someone asks you a question and you be offended? Why would that ever be the case? Anybody got an answer?
Truth hurts. It stings.
Yeah.
And there's some accountability there, you know, because a lot of them think that they want to present themselves as knowing everything, and they don't.
And righteous.
Right. There is no humility in them by saying that, you know, I'm not familiar with that. Let me figure out, or, you know, get some knowledge and information. Let's figure these things out together. Why isn't that the response?
Because they want to throw that image that they know it all.
Right. So they can get what? I need to call you in my office to see why you're not paying your tithes and offering.
Yeah, I want your money. Let me put my hand in your pocket.
Exactly. You know, some of you may have watched the debate earlier this week or whatever with the Democratic Republican debate with, you know, the two candidates, Trump and Harris, and you can see the game that goes on, the offense that takes place, especially when truths come out. People are offended. People sidetrack conversations and communication to now deflect onto something else or to try to make you look bad. That's what politics, period. That's what they always do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing that happens in your marriages, same thing that happens in your relationships with family and everything. You got to pull people back into what you're even talking about. You tell someone you're having a conversation with the person and they tell you, well, why are you saying all those things to me? You did that. Now it's about what you did. When you're pointing something out to them, they come back with something you did 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Remember that time when you, okay, but we're not talking about that. What we're talking about right here in this moment is A, B, C, D, and E. Let's address that. Well, you act like this, that I don't act like anything. Let's address what we're talking about here, which is A, B, C, D, and E. They're hoping to throw you off course so that because they don't want to be held accountable.
And shine that light on you. They don't want it on them. They want to put it back on you.
Isn't that what they did to Yahushua in his first advent?
Mm-hmm.
By trying to make him seem like the heretic and him to be the problem? Isn't that what the Christians and other faiths do to us that try to bring forth this word unto them as a light, as a vessel?
Free Barabbas. Free Barabbas.
So again, know yourself, know what comes with it. There's a price to pay for everything. All right. I was gonna go over another verse. It's rather long, but I think the point's been kind of made there in that regard. And getting to know yourself and some of the things that we contend with in this world and within ourselves, which is most important, you know, in knowing ourselves. How do we deal with situations that arise instead of looking outwardly to everyone else, knowing that those things exist outside of us? How are we dealing with it? Are we doing what Yahusha would do? 9 times out of 10, we don't. So yeah, I had a list of questions I wanted to ask you guys, and in all of this and getting to know yourselves. I want to get some responses from you. The first one being, why do you even believe in Yahuah and Yahusha?
I believe in them because I know I didn't create myself. And I know that there was something, which is Yahuah and Yahusha, that gave me the opportunity to do this. I know that I can't wake myself up. I know there's certain things that I can't do, that something is in control of all of that. And
So
so
why isn't that Jehovah? Or why isn't that Muhammad? Or why isn't that Buddha?
because in my studies, I found that those were man-made deities. But this Yahuah and Yahusha has shown me more than just it being me shouting some things and me going to a building. He's shown me some things in me, and one of the things is what his name means, which is one who delivers and saves. I can go with that instead of saying Jehovah and all those other things, which when you equate them to different languages, they mean pig, horses, and other things that cannot save me or cannot give me this knowledge of self in understanding the circumstances that we're in. So that's just me.
Anyone else?
Well, in knowing that the Most High is the true and living God and his son is the true Mashiach, they are the only one that can save you and set you free from all of the lies and falsities that the false gods that have been constructed by the world standards cannot do. Yahuah and Yahusha is showing us exactly the reason why we are here, how we got here, what we must do to get out of this position, and the blueprint how we are to be restored back to him is why I believe we should believe in Yahuah and Yahusha. No other God or Messiah can do that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Because he's righteous. They are righteous. And they showing me how I was deceived into the wickedness and unrighteousness, and teaching me how to come out of the unrighteous to be fully righteous.
Okay.
I think for me, very simple thing is that when I pray on the inside of me, when I pray on the inside, there's external results. And I don't mean just materialistic. I mean, even in my spiritual journey. One small example, because you guys are all here, is that my very first call, the topic was on carnality versus spirituality when we're reading in the word. And that's one of the biggest things that brought me to be here. So that's why I believe, because he continues to show me that he is present.
Okay. Good. Anyone else? So when a Christian or someone else comes to you and asks you, well, why do you believe in Yahuwah? And I'm sure you've been faced with that. I'm assuming, you correct me if I'm wrong. If someone comes to you and asks you, well, why do you even believe in Yahuwah and Yahusha? And they say, and not Jesus Christ. I mean, Christianity, the Bible teaches Jesus Christ. That's what they're going to say, right? And the Bible teaches Jehovah, from what they know and understand, right? Their question to you is now, why do you believe in Yahuwah and Yahusha? Nothing.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
I'm just elaborating on the question. When Christians or anyone else comes to you, they're going to come from a position of, well, the Bible teaches us about Jehovah and Jesus Christ. Why do you believe? You say that you read and understand the Bible and you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha. Why is that? How is that even possible? And we're reading out of the same book. Why do you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha? And I believe in Jehovah and Jesus Christ.
I tend to show them to me how your Jesus or Jehovah, how that is a deity that man made, but I also show them that we don't read this book for the carnality sense of your Jesus and your Jehovah. We read it from a spiritual perspective, from my Yahusha and my Yahuwah. And I kind of try to show them the spiritual aspect of the book, because my cousin tends to believe just because he thinks Hebrew, some Hebrew writers wrote it, is not right. And I keep telling him, you're going off a carnality sense. And each time I show him a spiritual principle, he tries to resort back to, no, so that's how I approach it.
Okay. Anyone else?
I go back to where and how it hit me in John 4:24, where he says Yahuwah is the spirit. And when I grabbed hold to that, that was the game changer for me. I was like, you know what? I said, okay. So all the times when I have read this, my eyes just finally just popped open to this. So why did I just now see this when I've been reading this and seeing this? But so yeah.
All right.
It goes back to what you said, that he said, then you shut up the book. So you see what's there. It's been there all along, but you didn't see it until it was made, you were made aware of it. I guess your eyes were just finally open to see this, that that's what I needed right then.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell everybody to go back to that. And I say, what does it say there? I say, he says that he's a spirit. I say, but we at one point in time think that he was a man. He's not a man. He's spirit. And they were like, well, I said, no, just read it for yourself and tell me what you think and what you see. And nobody's gotten back to me.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. So there was certain things that I was hoping to hear from you. I'm gonna let that rest for a minute. Because I'm sure it's gonna probably resonate and you're gonna say something later that, oh, I should have said this, or I should, because there are things that you know that you've been taught to understand why you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha that you're not saying.
Right.
And this is important for you to be able to understand who you are and knowing yourself, because yourself is your inner spirit. Why do you think you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha versus them believing in something that's Jehovah and Jesus? There should be several things that stand out about why you should believe in Yahuah and Yahusha versus someone that believes in Jesus and Jehovah. Go back and when you believed in Jesus and understand the difference. Go back and understand what you understand today versus what you understood before. These should give you the answers to the question of why you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha versus why others may believe in Jesus and Jehovah and Buddha and every other, image and spirit that's out there.
Exactly.
All right. But
Mhm.
moving along, we'll come back to that. Moving along. So what are your expectations then of Yahuah and Yahusha? Now that you say you believe in Yahuah and Yahusha, what's your expectations of Yahuah and Yahusha? We come out of the churches with this mindset of all the things that we say that we saw that were wrong. Bobby spoke about his friend that showed some signs of why she's disgusted with the church, and now she's looking for answers. He pointed her to the YouTube channel and gathering information, things of that nature. They are looking for answers, right? There's an expectation that people have a zeal for their creator, but they may not know who he is. Would you agree or disagree? Anybody on the
I would
call?
agree. I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then
So
what
Go ahead.
became your expectation when you came out of those things in the Christian church or other entity where you had this other belief or traditions of men? What has been your expectation now serving under Yahuah and Yahusha? What's your expectation of your creator?
To learn more about his ways, to learn from other believers. I mean, for him to help me get with other believers like this sanctuary, to learn more, to understand him more, but also for him to help me walk in the ways that I should go so that others can see just how good he is to me and that they can have it too. So the expectations is just to grow in him more so that I can help others understand who he is and why it is that I serve him. So my expectation is to grow in him so that
Okay.
others can see.
Anyone else?
To learn the righteous standards that are associated with Yahuwah and Yahusha, to that are required to edify yourself and others with, that have been blinded by the lies and falsities of the false gods and the false messiahs that have been taught by the world standards. Yahuwah and Yahusha represents a spirit of righteousness. The spirit of Jehovah and Jesus is a spirit of unrighteousness. So the expectations of our creator is to represent a standard of righteousness that is only achieved by those that walk by the spirit and operate in spirit and in truth, not by the expectations of Jesus and Jehovah, which is contrary to the ways and thoughts of our creator. When I look at the aspects of what has been demonstrated by a Jehovah, by a Jesus, by a Allah, by a Buddha, by a Hindu god, Vishnu, or Kalki, or any of those other gods, those gods are false gods because, number one, they operate by graven images for the most part. And most of those religions that were founded, they were founded outside of the confines of the standards that was established by the creator in that Garden of Eden. So they were founded outside, and outside is where all of those gods have developed. They were not founded in the beginning. So there are many expectations that relates to Yahuwah and Yahusha's standards that are not found in those said false gods that have been constructed by the nations.
Okay. What else?
His feast days are not being kept by those false gods. Under Jesus and Jehovah, they telling the world that, oh, you don't have to keep God's holy feast days. When the feast days are his standards or expectations, that shows us how we are going to be delivered. So there are many aspects that are associated with Yahuah and Yahusha that are just not associated with Jesus and Jehovah and the rest of the gods that were constructed out of time and out of season.
So would it be fair to say that your expectation would be, whether it was of Yahuah and Yahusha, even in when you served under Jesus and Jehovah and any other of the entities, your expectation is that you would receive salvation?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be your expectation? One of them?
I
Yep.
think I said that earlier, but
Yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you recognize that you did not have salvation under those graven images and other entities?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that
You
you
were
saw
placed
the
in
flaw,
bondage.
you see the flaw, the expectation, when you believe, going back to the first question a little bit, bringing in the facts of one, understanding that you serve these other graven images and gods and idols and everything else, you had to learn certain things about yourself and learn who your creator is and
Mm-hmm.
learn the differences of what was presented to you under the lies and falsities of others that presented a false narrative of who our creator is. Would that is that the case? Yes
Oh,
or no?
that's a good one. No,
Yep.
that's a good one. You can't become one of the sons and daughters of God under Jesus and Jehovah or any of the gods of the nations.
And by studying to show yourself approved, the expectation is if I study to show myself approved and understanding who Yahuah and Yahusha are, that through the Ruach HaKodesh, I will be led to all truth. Where what I understood before in Christianity and any other traditions of men, I see now that those things would never have led to my salvation and that I was a lawbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
The very ones that are teaching me those things are lawbreakers, lawlessness.
Mm-hmm.
And those things don't lead me to my creator, so they could not be of who my creator is. So I cannot believe in that, not via these words. If I'm living according to the doctrine of this book, one, I had to study to show myself approved and not read as I was reading before, because I was reading without understanding when the scriptures tells us in all your ways to get understanding. You did not have understanding. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
So understanding that not only the expectation is not even just through your studying, but through others studying. See, this is where this is where the lines get grayed for many people, because they don't want to believe in that the messenger, that the angels, that the Malachim and the Sephaim come through another living vessel that's right here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because you still see them as a physical being and you call them man. Therefore, you know not his spirit. You have not discerned who this, there's only two bodies on this earth, righteousness and unrighteousness. One is of our creator, the other one is not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can't discern the difference. That's the problem with mankind. You can't distinguish the difference. Therefore, I'm going to show you and put you through this plan of salvation so that you can see and understand and have an expectation of who I am by my spirit and in truth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any other expectations? with Yahuah and Yahusha?
To operate in the spiritual wilderness versus inside of places that are made with the hands of men.
Well, yeah, that comes up, but I mean, what are your expectations of? So when I say your expectations, so I expect, and you've heard this before, even with Jay in the past, I guess, there's an understanding that I have. I have an expectation of Yahuah and Yahusha that if I do A, B, C, D, and E, you are going to provide me with what you said you were going to
So
do.
you're going to be blessed. Yeah.
Right. So my expectation is if I follow you and do what you told me to do, that the manifestation thereof is going to be given to me. That's the expectation. I also understand that if I don't follow you and I go against it, the expectation is that you are going to chastise me. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do Christians tell you that?
Mm-mm.
Do they want that chastisement? Nobody wants to get that beat down, right?
Still don't. Run from that.
But there's an expectation. Raising a child, there's an expectation. If you're raising your child in the way that we should, and the Most High is the perfect example of all of these things, that if we speak to our children, raise them up in the way that they should go, even from a natural and spiritual perspective, they won't depart from it. However, most don't raise their children in that manner from a spiritual perspective of our Creator, individually and collectively. Again, it's not just about you, yet it is. So when we understand that there's a price to pay, both individually and for the collective body, that's what he means. That's what he's putting us through.
Oh, that's a good reel.
All right. All right. So next, so what are you preparing for, if anything, as it relates to Yahusha and the kingdom on earth? Are you preparing for anything? Can't sit blank on my podcast.
That his righteous will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Huh?
That
I'm
his
sorry.
will, that his righteous will be done on earth as it is in heaven. To see the day when the Creator and his Son are actually in charge of bringing a righteous government to this standpoint, to this world, just as it is in the Shamayim, the day of paradise as well.
So what are you doing to prepare for that?
Learning about his thoughts and ways in order to acquire the said understanding that may go forth in myself and others collectively.
All right. Anyone else?
I agree with that. Also preparing to see the destruction of, as Quest said, the destruction of this evil government, but also the evil ways of this government, but also preparing to see the righteousness or the righteous get the promises that were made to them.
Okay. So talk to me about your preparation.
Trying to understand his word more, trying to read it with the spiritual lenses, trying to apply the spirit's the fruits of the spirits in my daily walk, but also trying to learn from the sanctuary as well, so that I won't have any stone unturned. But also understanding that, especially my preparation, understand that I'm not going to get it the first, maybe even the second time. So preparing to get it when it's time for me to get it, and not trying to rush it, and not trying to understand it all at once, like it's going to happen all at once. So preparing that way.
All right. So the latter part is what I'm gonna go with more so than the former. And the reason why I say that is because there's a word that I want us to kind of exit from our vocabulary when it comes to getting to know our creator. And that when it comes to this book, everybody talks about reading. And the book does not tell you to read the scripture. It tells you to study it. The only way that we're going to get to know who our creator is through studying this word. Many read it. We know that. Satan can read it. Satan can recite it, all those things. That's how Satan can mislead you, because he can tell you and recite things to you to make you believe whatever he wants you to believe. But when you study and know these things, you have a different understanding than that person that sits there and tells you that I've read the Bible back and forth 25 times, and therefore I'm knowledgeable, I'm a scholar, I'm this, that, and the other because I went to seminary and I'm a theologian and all of this garbage. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something that comes out of this word that's different when we study to show ourselves approved than someone who reads the word and tells you how many times they've read the scriptures, yet they have no understanding. And, in the preparation, we should be trying to gain the understanding of our creator so that we can live a kingdom-centered life and preparing for the kingdom on earth. And what role we play in that. A lot of times, once again, most people want to sit on the back burner, act like there's nothing to do. If there's no use for us here, why are we here? This is how the colonizers and this world has looked at certain people. There's no use for you. So either I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna do all kinds of things to make you wish you were here because you serve no purpose. That's what's going through their head. There is a purpose for us here. Now, what purpose are we going to fulfill? If we say that we want the kingdom to come on earth, because I can tell you, when I talk to Christians, even in my own household or family, whatever, that talk this garbage about, the kingdom, they rarely do they even talk about the kingdom on earth because they're scared of it, which is crazy in itself. Most Christians are really afraid of the kingdom on earth. Why would you be afraid of that? Because judgment comes before it.
Comes, right. Mm-hmm.
That's what you're afraid of.
Exactly.
So our preparation is to ensure that we know who our creator is, how he operates, so that one, I don't have to suffer the second death. I don't have to go through what others are going through to be afraid. There's no reason for me to be afraid. I'm not going to be judged because I've already been judging myself. I've already come out. I'm already serving you. I'm already doing all the things that I'm supposed to do for you, with you, to help bring in and usher in the kingdom on earth. Why would I be afraid of that?
Only way you be afraid of that
because they know not, neither do they understand.
Right. They don't know. That's the problem. They don't know. But we, those that are following Yahuah and Yahusha, we should know. So we should even understand, and knowing ourselves, what we're preparing for. When the opportunity comes, it's not going to come by, just like the scriptures tell, it's not going to come by the way that man thinks the kingdom on earth is coming, number one. You're not going to be able to look here and look there and say, oh, there's the kingdom, there's the kingdom. No, that's not what's happening here. So how would you be prepared to know when to take place? If you say that you have certain gifts and talents and things that the Most High has given to you and you want to share, how would you know when to share it? We should be preparing to do those things. If you know that he's given you the talent or gift of singing or dancing or being giving the word or interpretation, or when are you going to put those things to use? We should be preparing all along, knowing that these things are taking place for the kingdom on earth. Everything is centered around the kingdom on earth. We should all be thinking constantly and seeing even these things happening today. I don't know if you guys, and this is something that I really want to address in the beginning. I don't know if you can tell me, do you guys feel in your spirit the things that are going on in this world right now and what Yahuah and Yahusha are doing in your spirit? Has it been pulling at you? Has it been showing you certain things about what's taking place now? Yes or no?
Yeah, because I see the wickedness is heightening up. Is getting so rampant, and it's going fast. It's at a fast pace now. Where it wasn't, it didn't used to be like that, but now it's so everywhere. Even it's to the children, So yeah, I see the wickedness is going super fast.
Anything else?
Even with the coming out of people coming out of the church, even with people asking more questions about or questioning what they believed in the beginning.
Right. And going back to what you said initially with the girl that's been asking you questions, now you're going to be held accountable.
Kathy said, even in say again.
So now that these people are coming out and hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my internet connection was unstable for a second. With people coming out and you're presenting information to them, they're now going to ask you more questions. If you're not prepared to answer those questions, how does that benefit the Most High? How does that benefit the kingdom on earth? And how does that make Yahuah and Yahusha look unto them? If we're not prepared to do what we need to do to answer these questions. Just something to think about in knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense at all? Or
oh yeah, it makes sense.
Because if just look at it like this, just like those pastors and preachers don't want to be asked questions, if you're the same way, how does that make you look? You're no different than they are, right? In a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying holistically that your agenda is the same as theirs or whatever, but people are looking for answers, as you always hear me say. People have questions. They want things answered. So in the preparation and getting to know Yahuah and Yahusha, and of course, one person doesn't have all of the answers, but we should be able to collectively obtain these answers, come together, gather together, after we have all been sitting, doing our studying to show ourselves approved. We should be able to come to the table and have these answers, not only for ourselves, but for those around us. Does that make sense? When your children come to you and you have no answers, can they respect you as a parent?
No.
Well, just something to think about. All right, so number 4, how uncomfortable are you willing to become for Yahuah and Yahusha on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most uncomfortable.
Gotta go all in.
So are you saying 10? You're willing to be the most uncomfortable?
You gotta go all in. You gotta go all in. I'm getting that today. So right now I think I'm about a 7, but you gotta go all in. I've had some people just recently tell me lose their number because of the way I because it's not what they believe. So it's all good. So I'm getting there. I'm getting to that all out, soul all out.
So talk to me a little bit. How did that make you feel? Honestly, I mean, let's just keep it real.
Honestly, I was cool with it because I think one of the things I saw it coming anyway because I don't do certain things that they do, and I don't believe in how they believe. So it's easy to do that when you know you saw it coming already, number one, but number two, when it wasn't benefiting you in any way, not even, benefiting the kingdom, but also the kingdom that I'm trying to build up. It wasn't even building that up. And it was always something, it was always something about, I need to believe this way. I don't understand why you do this. So tell me why you still with this way of thinking. So I knew it was coming. I was glad it was coming. I was glad that at the end of the day, they made the decision to make their decision their way. Because one of the things that I was, not used to doing is not used to having someone close to me say lose the number. But it was very, very, for me, very, very relieving. So it just was a relief, and now it's getting to the point where I'm going to see it happening more and more, which is good.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm glad. I'm glad you shared that, number one, because this is what I've been telling you guys all along, and of course, it's been happening in my life for quite some time, and it's sometimes honestly, it's not a good feeling, but yet it is, and by that I mean, we want the best for other people, but sometimes the best is no longer being there for them in their life right now because you're on 2 different pages. So for somebody to tell you to lose their number and you know that you're following the right thing, regarding your creator, it made it easy for you. That is the relief that you were talking about, right? I mean, it does assist you in that. Okay, well, I'm glad that's over. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting that shot that, if you're afraid of taking a needle or whatever, once it's over, okay, good. Now got that out the way, moving right along.
Yep.
But it is sometimes it is uncomfortable if we're honest with ourselves. It's uncomfortable going through, but getting to the other side of it is rewarding. You feel better. The Band-Aid is ripped off. Okay, I'm cool. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And sometimes that's, what it takes. A lot of times that's what it takes in regards to our relationship with Yahuah and Yahusha. He wants to see who's sold out, who's not. Again, with family, friends, co-workers, colleagues, all of that. How uncomfortable are you willing to go to understand who I am and operate in my righteousness versus what the world has kept you in bondage on?
I'm gonna say I'm an 8 because I jumped out of that fish bowl and got into a pond. Family, they always treated me as though I was weird or something because I didn't do what they did. I wasn't believing in what they were believing in, and I'm in a whole different state, all to myself, and I'm good with that. So I'm alone, and I'm good with that. I feel great. Being uncomfortable, yes, very much uncomfortable, but I feel good. I don't have to sacrifice of trying to be what they want me to be or do what they want me to do. Uh, I'm good.
How about
So,
the aspect of being uncomfortable studying his word? Because sometimes
yeah,
that's uncomfortable too. Now
yeah,
there's an expectation of us to now get uncomfortable in this word by studying to show ourselves approved,
yeah,
by living and doing the things according to what he's telling us in the spirit of these matters. That's
yeah.
not always so comfortable. Most
No,
of the world doesn't want to do that. It's too uncomfortable to have to go home and sit there and study and get to know who your creator is. Same thing
Mhm.
for relationships. We talked about this earlier. The dating processes and things of that nature, people don't even have anymore. They want you to be what they want you to be right then and there. They got a list of questions in their head of what they want to manufacture and make you to be, and just say, let's just get married, or let's just do this, or let's just do that. And then on the other side of that, a lot of things come out.
yeah, sure do.
So the uncomfortable part is getting to know people. Sometimes, in that dating process or getting to know someone, you may find out that, nah, this isn't for me.
Yeah,
Thanks, but no thanks.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so we have to, think about all of those things. There's so many different ways to be uncomfortable and getting, and living this lifestyle, because that's what it is. It's a lifestyle with Yahuah and Yahusha. Totally different lifestyle of that of the world.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Anyone else before I move on? All right. So what are you not content with your life, in your life, and what do you believe needs to occur to address the matter in regards to your spiritual walk? I should have clarified that a little bit more, but in regards to your spiritual walk and things that need to happen for your life, what are you not content with?
I'm
I
not content with not being able to just study and read the Bible like how I used to.
Study the Bible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, move that
Yeah,
word, cat.
I'm not content with that. So, um,
So
and I need to get back to studying like how I used
Hmm.
to.
so
But
what do you believe needs to
it's a difference now because now I'm seeing it that I was studying I guess carnally, but now with the spiritual part of it, that's a whole new different ball game, because I'm coming out of that carnality into the spiritual part of it. And so I'm not content with not being able to just really engulf myself into the word to get a better spiritual understanding of the word.
All right. So the second part of that, what do you believe needs to occur to address that?
I need to get to where I will be able to do that. I didn't work then, but now I have to work. So I just got to balance it out as to being able to survive, you know, um, just get it balanced out right, um, so that I can get back to studying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else?
Hmm.
Anyone else?
I agree with Kat. I have to do the same thing. Start studying more. And the way to do that is just get back committed to him. Make that commitment to me and him.
Yeah,
Just do it.
yeah. And I got to say, Father, forgive me. I am so sorry. But yeah, I got to get back to that.
So think a little bit more outside the box. And this is where Satan's world. They have certain things that are very correct in how we should address matters. You're just addressing it from the wrong side. And what I'm thinking of in this instance is a lot of times when you're not content with certain things, and you believe that you can only do but so much. First of all, you're not going to get all the answers. It's not all about you. So we have to surround ourselves with other people that can help nurture these matters and help us to gain understanding. So in on Satan in Satan's world, from a business perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, from everything else, it's all about surrounding yourselves with like-minded people, right? So it could be like-minded from an unrighteous perspective or like-minded from a righteous perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We should want to surround ourselves with other people of like minds to help us grow and understand matters where we're not content in certain aspects of our life. If you wanted to learn how to make money, you are not going to be around a bunch of poor people that have never made money. That's a fact.
Right.
You are going to do the research. You are going to look online and see what you can do to surround yourselves with people that have been making money. Why wouldn't you do the same thing in getting to know your creator? Does that make sense?
It does.
And
It
thank
does.
you for saying that.
It does. Um,
So sometimes we're too
you
narrow
gotta be
focused.
committed.
Sometimes we're too narrowly focused on certain things and putting all of our eggs into one basket of ourselves. And that's not what the Most High wants. He wants us to do the necessary research. Like I said, Satan has this part right in regards to allowing people to get that messaging out there, to surround yourself with like-minded people to go after what I want you to go after. Now you take that same principle and apply it for the righteousness of who our creator is. Are there other people that understand this word and are trying to get these matters addressed and help me in my spiritual growth and journey? I don't care where you live. You can be in Timbuktu, and if you know who our creator is, and you can provide me with the knowledge and insight to help me in areas where I'm not content in my life, why wouldn't I interact with you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What happens is we close ourselves off sometimes from being blessed in that very same instance. Going back to the question about preparing ourselves for as it relates to Yahusha and the kingdom on earth, we have to have a mind that's different than the mindset that you've been having. Because what happens a lot of times is when we come out of the world, we go into a even though we're in the wilderness, we close ourselves off. And you can't close yourself off from, you should not close yourself off from the truth and from blessings that can flow your way. You're thinking a lot of times that the blessing is going to come the way that you think it should come. The Most High does not think like you in most cases. And you have to understand that. Don't block your blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Do your part. And that's part of the uncomfortability, that we just spoke of in question number 4. How uncomfortable are you willing to be? Because sometimes it could be very uncomfortable to really get the manifestation of the blessing that's coming your way. You just can't see it yet. You don't know what it's going to take for him to use you to get to the other side of certain things in your life, because you're so accustomed to addressing it from man's perspective in the way that we've been taught and addressed to address these carnal matters of this world. That requires no faith. That means you have no faith in him, but you have faith in Satan's world. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
It does.
All right. So, do you want your life to mirror Yahusha's? And if yes, why? And how so? And if not, why not?
I think that's what's happening now as we come out of her. It's mirroring what he, you know, what he wants from us. I would like it because I want to make sure that number one, I get salvation and that I have salvation. But number two, I have a spirit of, I have a love for people, and I want people to get the goodness of what we see and what we're receiving. And so I have a heart for people. So I would want them to receive the same thing in terms of understanding who he is in our lives, how he governs our lives, and what we need to do to become closer to him. So I think we're already doing that. It's just I need to do it more in terms of just seeking and studying the word and then spreading the word. And I think I do that also, but not enough. And so if I'm asking the questions, do I want my life to mirror his? Yes. If so, why and how? Why? Because he was the ultimate example of what we should do and be. And how so? Doing what he did, going inside and understanding the God in us and giving it to the people that want to receive it so that they can have salvation and that we can build the kingdom as we were told to do.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, Yahusha was an overcomer. He overcame this world by doing the hard things that was required in order to be the Son of God. Um, if we truly want to be a son or daughter of God, this comes with, well, this is an expectation that is required of us to be an overcomer like Yahusha was. I mean, he loved not his life even unto death. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that he was willing to die for what he believed in. But he also knew that at the appointed time and season, the Abba was going to raise him back up to live again. So I think that is um, an inspirational aspect of his testimony as to what we should, want in a life that mirrors Yahusha. And he had a sense of freedom, even though he knew that everything that he knew he was going to endure in this life. He said, it's not my will that, I'm not trying to do this by my own will. It's letting the Father's will be done through him. That gave him hope in knowing that he can endure all things just by putting his best foot forward and just doing the work. So I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt, that is something that we should want that mirrors Yahusha's life.
In this instance, I'm asking more specific to you.
I'm saying it to myself. Yeah, I'm saying for myself. He never, like I said, he never said it was going to be easy, but I should want that beyond a shadow of a doubt. I do want that. And I know there are challenges, but, you know, through him we are strengthened.
All right. Go ahead, Jim Bob.
Yeah, yes. I want my life to mirror Yahusha, and the reason why is because that's who I'm to follow. You know, if I believe in him, if I put my trust in him, then I'm to do what he tells me to do. I'm to follow him all the days that Yahuwah blesses, Baruch me with. And I'm to let my light so shine that Yahuwah may be esteemed. And that's why I follow Yahusha. And you know, and how so it would be, doing what he tells me to do is no matter what the world says to me, no matter how they treat me, no matter what they think about me, if somebody comes and slaps me on either side of the cheek, I'm to turn the other to it. If somebody comes up and persecutes me or whatever, I'm to act not as the world does, but act as Yahusha does. And that way they see Yahusha living in and through you. They see that difference. They see that all that Yahusha is if we're following him, if I'm following him. And Yahuwah will be esteemed. And that's why I do it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anyone else? All right. So do you consider yourself a high valued man or woman as it pertains to I know there's a lot of terminology regarding this out there now, regarding a high value woman or high valued man, as it pertains to the carnal world. But how about from a spiritual perspective? Do you consider yourself high valued? And if so, how? If not, explain.
That's an interesting question. Um,
Go ahead, Jim Bob.
Yes, I consider what Yahuwah says about me. I am how valued in his eyes. And and it goes back again. It's not what the world says who I am.
Exactly.
It says who Yahuwah says I am who I am in and through his son. We're all, all that are truly his
Mm-hmm.
and are his children. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. He netted us together in our mother's womb.
Mm-hmm.
And in and through Yahusha, we're a new creature. The old man's passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Uh, we're light in this world. We're the salt in this world. So in Yahuwah's eyes, we're highly valued unto him. Of course, the world is going to think different and say different and believe different, but we're in this world, but we're not of it.
All right. Exactly. So in transition, and this is what if everybody's at a different stage in their spiritual journey and walk, as we always talk about. And some people don't feel as valued in their understanding, in their walk, and knowing who they are in Yahuah and Yahusha. And you know, the honest answer for some people may be different, that I don't feel high valued because I'm just at this stage in my walk and my journey, and I'm learning certain things so that I can be of more value to the body, so that in my preparation for what I am to do for the kingdom on earth and for our creator. I'm in preparation so that I can be of higher value. And this is something really a question that again, it's about getting to know yourself. A lot of times we're pressured into thinking that we have to answer a certain way because we want the appearance of being something that we're often not. And we see this all the time in the carnal world or in Satan's world. We see it all the time. Sometimes you may not feel that value in your relationship. You have to be honest. When we can have that honesty within ourselves, I don't feel very valued. Here's why. When you can sit down and have that conversation with other people, regardless of the, whatever relationship it is, understanding why you don't feel valued and what would help you to be of better value to that person or to that relationship. These are things that we have to address and examine within ourselves to really understand why I don't feel as valued. I don't feel like I'm doing the things that I should be doing here with this committee, with this job, or with this person, with this environment. That's just the truth of the matter. Some people fool themselves with thinking that they're highly valued when in all actuality, they're really not, and they know that they're not. But, as it pertains to Yahuah and Yahusha, if we truly believe that we can do all things through Yahusha who strengthens us, then we should be of value, number one, and try to be of the best value or the highest value that we can possibly be through his strength within us. And it goes back to what I said earlier about, circling ourselves or getting around surrounding ourselves with others of like minds that can help us be of higher value. Sometimes just with other people around and what you possess may provide you with a sense of more value because you're able to lead a person in a certain direction to assist them. You're very valuable to that person or to that community or to that situation. Satan's world will devalue you very quickly. And that's how many people feel very devalued because they don't see the value of that they actually add to someone's life, to our community, to our families, to our children, and to the Most High. That's the honest conversation. We have I don't want to go too deep into it, but, we have a lot of people that are going through many things and have been going through many things, beginning with our mind. The transforming and renewing of our mind is where most of the time things haven't been taking place. Things haven't been transforming and renewing. So if it doesn't do that, it's staying where it was. Where is it? It's being devalued. It's like being a battered wife in a bad relationship. Where is your head? Being battered, because that's all I've been my whole life, abused. So when we come out of those things and understand when we serve or we're with someone that can, one, find value in us, because the Most High, he's told us that we were created perfect until iniquity was found in us. Where's that perfection in us that the Most High has seen in us? How do we present that to the Most High in the best way possible and stand tall and firm in that? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's something again within, not external. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks that you don't add value when you know that you add value in what you've done, because the world's going to come against you. So to the earlier question, a life that mirrors Yahusha, the world did not like Yahusha in his first advent, and they don't like him now. Because the truth goes forward. And people don't like the truth. And our lives are to, if our lives and our spirit mirrors his, we're saying that we're allowed to, we're going to take those things on. The burdens of this world will come upon us. That's what we're inviting. And in doing so, we have high value for the bigger picture of what Yahuah is doing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. I'm not going to really go into this question too much. We've kind of talked about that before, so I'm not going to really address that. But I do want to address number 9. Do you believe that all people are good? I hear this statement from some people sometimes. Do you believe that all people are good?
Now that's a good question. Do I believe all people are good? Let me think on that one.
Well, my answer is no.
Support your answer.
Based off of people's actions, it shows that they're not good people. Everybody is not good.
How so?
You have people out here raping, murdering. That is not good. You have people, domestic violence. Those people are not good. So that's what I mean by that.
All right. And Jim Bob, go ahead.
Yes, I don't believe all people are good. According to Yahusha and Meditite Yahu, chapter 7, because a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a corrupt tree cannot bear good fruit. You're either going to be, bearing good fruit, or you're going to be bearing corrupt fruit, bad fruit. There's no in between. You're either in this world, of this world, a non-believer, or either you're a child of Yahuwah.
Exactly. Yeah, so right, you're exactly right. So one, a lot of people make this false statement about all people are good. That's not what the word teaches at all. All people are not good. Again, when we understand the reason why we're here is to separate unrighteousness from righteousness. It's a separation. We talk about how we're set apart. What are you set apart from? You should be set with that which is good in righteousness that bears the good fruit, like Jim Bob just said, not with the unrighteousness that brings on the hell and havoc that Latricia was just talking about. And that's just the manifestation of some of those things. But if we are of the righteousness and doing the right thing by our Creator, we have to know, again, when the transgressors came and bit off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you are to now know, just like he knew, and he says, now they know good and evil. What do you think he meant by that?
You had to make a choice to either do good or do evil.
Right. And which will you follow? Will you follow that which is good, or will you follow that which is evil? Your Creator is the tree of knowledge, of the tree of life. He sees the tree. He can see all things and knows good and evil. He just cannot do evil. So, to make the statement that, that some people say, oh, I see good in all people. I don't. Neither does the Most High. So you can't be aligned with the Most High if you see good in all people. And by that, I mean, not so much just because of the rapes and murders and things. That's not the people that he's speaking about, really. It's really about the transgressors who do not want righteousness for his name's sake. There's no accountability for those people. So for people to even get to the state where they can commit those atrocities and offenses against people are under the auspices of I can do unrighteousness and get away with it because my forefathers have led me down this path. All right. Does that make sense? No? Okay.
Plenty of sense.
So what pleases you the most about Yahuah and Yahusha in your life?
Promises made, promises kept. Whatever he says, he keeps his promise. That's the one, that was one of the many things, but that's the one thing I always keeps in mind. Promises made, promises kept. He will not break his word.
All right. Jim Bob?
Yes, he delivered me. He delivered me from the person that I was living in bondage. And the power, he delivered me from the power of sin and the power of the flesh and the power of the devil. He's passed me from death into life, moved me out of darkness into his marvelous light, and moved me out of the kingdom of darkness unto his kingdom. And now that I'm his, I'm no longer the devil's. And I have power in and through and strength in and through his son Yahusha over the devil and every demonic spirit. But more than that, my name has been written in the Lamb's book of life.
Good. All right, cool. Anyone else? All right. So are most of the people in your circle like you in your understanding and belief in Yahuah and Yahusha? Explain.
My circle is y'all. So yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I don't have a circle that I'm in. You guys are my circle, my family.
All right. Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, there's not very many that call upon his true name, his son's true name. I don't have a circle where I stay at, and just about everybody calls upon, God or Lord, or what they've been taught, what we've all been taught. And and when I go and witness, they don't want to hear it, and it's just like those that I do fellowship with is right here, and it's hard. It's very hard to find somebody on the same page or on the same road as you are.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it really goes to what Bobby was saying earlier in regards to some people are or what we deal with in relationships with our people, we see people getting cut off from us, so the circles that we were in we are no longer a part of, and they really did us a favor. So our circle becomes smaller and becomes more of the people that you really want to be around versus the ones that you really wanted out of your life path, that was really there to test you and really bring you back to the other side. when we look at it from that perspective of, okay, yeah, I needed for that to happen. I needed to be cut off from you. So now my circle just got smaller and smaller and smaller. It was large in Satan's dominion, and it gets smaller as you come into Yahusha, in the world of his spirit and in truth. So that's the price that we pay for that which we believe in Yahuah and Yahusha as one body, as people are being moved over and tested. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yep.
So, that people pleaser type of mentality, if we, Yahusha definitely wasn't a people pleaser, which we know from his word. And he paid the price for that by not being that. And we're paying, as we are of his body, we now pay the price of the same thing because we are the same body, same spirit. All right. So, what's a huge issue you see in the world that you would like to focus on with more specific outcomes? So, addressing it from a perspective of, we've talked about before about certain gifts and talents and things that we have, our knowledge, our intelligence in the word or spirit. Some may have the gift of gab and talking or being with other people. What are some of the huge issues in this world that you see that you can focus on, more specifically aligned with our Creator?
I, I think caring for others more. That I want to focus on specific outcomes. And just by caring, meaning sharing what we all on this call know, just sharing the truth, but also caring for them in another way that they can see what true believers are or who true believers are. We were called to, be a beacon of light to those who are in the darkness. I think caring for other people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I see a lot of children um, getting taken advantage of. The parents are just throwing them to the wolves. Um, I don't know. It just hurts me to see how a lot of the parents are treating their children. And I'm seeing so much of it uh, there at the hotel. It's heartbreaking, and I don't. They go from leaving toddlers and infants in the room by themselves to, I don't know, to yanking on them, to doing just so much. Um, that's a huge issue that I see.
Okay. Anyone else?
For me, it's the medical community, and you can include the mental along with it. Is how they're mistreating people as far as with the diagnosis. Then they diagnose them, or they can give them the wrong diagnosis. You could have the patient literally coming to the doctor for help with their issue. They're not getting any help, so they got to find alternative methods. Then as far as the mental, you have so-called professionals that ain't paying attention to the mental patient's needs.
So you want to focus on that with specific outcomes?
Yes.
Okay. Have you studied in some of those fields, or I mean, how do you want to, in what capacity do you want to focus on those areas?
Well, I'm thinking about going back to school as far as the herbs and stuff, so I can like really like know, because I am a firm believer if you could be diagnosed, you can also be healed from the medicines of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to go to school and further my education so I can help in that way.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. So, do you feel loved by this world? Your genetic family, colleagues, friends, community, etc.
No,
Nope.
I feel hate.
Well, I do. My son loves me. So that one, yeah, my son, but the world, no.
I mean, for me, I could have said that, but by the fact that they still in Satan's world, do they really love me?
Right. When
No.
Yahuah is love. Right.
The world is not supposed to love you.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you walk in the truth and righteousness of the Creator, this world is supposed to hate you
Oh
Mm-hmm.
because
yeah.
that's what it did to Yahusha.
Exactly.
Which was going to be my answer to number 12, is to teach the huge issue that I see is that there's a lack of love, true love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right. Good. And what teachings help you the most in your growth in Yahuah and Yahusha?
The reason why
The
why
reason why we're here.
Okay. Anything else?
the 101 reasons why we were deceived.
All right.
The sign all true believers must follow.
Spiritual language,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
plan of salvation,
Spirit and in truth.
3 earth ages,
Surrender all.
Mm. Yeah.
Yahuwah's book of life.
Mhm. And even teachings outside of, unsealed and revealed truths. If there's teachings that you've even heard from other groups or people, what are some of those that really help in your growth?
For me, there is none.
Okay. Mhm. All right. So, and the last question is, what teaching style assists you most in understanding and getting you to know Yahuah and Yahusha better? What works better for your, as far as a teaching style?
Can it be multiple choice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, just
Multiple
what?
choice?
Huh?
Could we have like the answers in like a multiple choice?
Um, well, I mean, I don't have any. I just want you to tell me what's best for you as an individual. It may not be the same for everybody, so I don't want to give you the choices when you may have several different things for yourself, if that makes sense. It's not going to be necessarily the same for everybody, which is my point.
Okay. let somebody else go first.
Nobody knows what teaching
Getting to
style
know
assists.
Yahuah and Yahusha. I think the audio.
What do you mean, audio?
Yeah, when I say audio, I'm saying like, well, I'm not gonna say it's most in my understanding, but I believe listening to the audio of like the said scriptures while like I'm driving or whatever helps to render understanding and getting to know Yahuah and Yahusha while you're trying to acquire said understanding. Not the most, but it's one of them.
The video and the reading, the hard copy of the video, the lesson.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would definitely say the lesson. I am able to study it out better.
What, a hard copy? What do you mean? The lesson?
Yeah, like, I mean, well, it could be hard copy or it could be like on a PowerPoint slide.
Okay. All right.
I like both formats, but this one I learned a little bit more from because we can talk it out. But I like both of them.
We need to write that down.
When you say you like this format as far as what the questions,
the question and the responses, because I get to hear the other perspectives. So then once I hear the other perspectives, it gives me something to think about.
Okay.
So when it's talking gives me more, when it talk, because I like talking. So that's how I kind of learn, talking through it.
So you learn from talking, or you learn from listening?
I mean, I learn from listening and talking. Listening and talking, you got me. Listening and talking. Give me 5 seconds.
All right. Anybody else on the teaching style that helps you most? Can you identify that about yourself? How you best learn information, getting to know Yahuah and Yahusha.
Yeah, visual aids, charts.
All right. All right. Well, yeah, that was the final question. I want y'all to think about that more, though, because I know that we all learn differently, and I'm genuinely interested in what's more effective for the greater community. I know that everyone learns, like I said, a little differently about, from a survey perspective or general perspective. I'd like to, get an understanding what resonates the most with people and getting this information out to them. I see a lot of stuff out there with, very cinematic type of stuff, not necessarily of context of our creator, and people like it, but they don't. I question sometimes if they're getting the sometimes the underlying messages, and I do believe that there are people that have some of the information but when it's presented sometimes in the manner in which it is, I believe it actually deflates the message. And it's something to be, I try to be careful about that as well, even with the content that I put out there, and I've been putting out more shorts and stuff like that as well. I don't want to deflate what I'm really trying to say and convey. Um, and that's the difficult part of using video, and because people are looking for something, they're looking for something that they can relate to and like, and they're a lot of times they're really looking for something from a carnal perspective, and not that which is of the spirit. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand the dilemma there?
Yes.
But at the same time, even like as Quest said, there are tools and resources that can definitely help us to learn and understand and grow, with charts and literature and information, depending on the person that receives it and how they learn. Some people like lectures and want to just hear it. Some people don't like lectures. Some people, like the information presented to them in from a soft copy or hard copy form, where they can read it, digest it, go back through it multiple times. Some people like a combination thereof. So yeah, that's why I'm asking. All right. So yeah, that concludes today's session. Well, Larry, we didn't hear from you at all today. Are you there? Been quiet. Trinidad in the house? He's still on mute. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to share? Hey, Zaysma, see you out there as well. Hope all is well.
We cannot control the timing of their deliveries.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is kind of going back to when we were talking about studying, like a good over like 20 minutes ago, but I do read in the morning, but one of the things that I am thinking about when I'm reading is like I don't want to do that anymore where I'm just reading. I really want to be able to digest what I'm taking in. And I did notice that there's like maybe sometimes as I'm reading along, I will say in about 2 weeks I've only made it through I think about 20 chapters just in Genesis. But I've I've like noticed different things, but what I don't know what to do is what happens when I have questions, or what happens when I'm reading along and something seems different to me. Like I don't know how to study. I don't know how to, I don't know how to say it. I guess I don't know how to study. I don't know how to sit there with the word as it's speaking to me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. Well, first, thanks for the honesty about that, because I think a lot of people really don't know, and many people pretend that they are studying, and they're not, and it's indicative in the outcomes a lot of times. But there is no one particular way to study, and it goes back to basically my last question in regards to teaching styles, and the way that we learn is a big part of our studies as well, because the way that I study may not work for other people the way that they study. But the one thing that we should all be able to get are outcomes from our studies. If you don't get the outcomes that you're looking for, then we need to look at what is it about my studies that I'm not doing correctly to produce the outcomes that I need to produce? So that's why I asked the last question I did. What are, some of the teaching styles that assist? Because as you said, reading, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, first of all. And, don't feel like you have to read, all of Genesis in a day or in an hour. That's not impressive. People get easily impressed by, you saying that you did something. No, that's not impressive at all. What is impressive is that you have the context and information regarding what you read, and you understand what your creator is telling you through the said scripture. That's impressive. And most people cannot do that. So that's when it takes time, where you have to really examine yourself and say, what's the best way for me to study? And think about, even when you were in school, how did you learn best in certain scenarios within school? You had certain teachers that may have taught one way, and other teachers that taught another way. So you have to go back and look at your habits and your learning abilities, and what helps you to digest information better for yourself. And again, don't challenge yourself to regarding time and things of that nature, that you have to read so much or understand or study so much in a short period of time just to say that you did that. So again, there is no one answer to that. It's really about reflection and seeing what works best for you, how different people present information to you, as well as how you read and how you go through information. And because, like I said, with the reading part, it's just that, reading. And a lot of times that's not studying, so you don't necessarily get it. So when a person studies, and this is why I wanted you to kind of take that reading part out of your vocabulary for a little while, you're going to do things that are different than reading. You're going to gain understanding when you go into the word. Every time I ask people on here, what did they learn? What did they get from something? A lot of times it's blank, because they did not study what they said they studied. They read something, just like all Christians or anybody else can read something, and they can tell you what they read. I'm not, but we don't feel like we've walked away with the confidence of knowing what the Most High is showing in our studies, because it takes a lot more out of us to study than it does to read. So I'm not sure if I'm helping you much there, but again, this is a community with us that we have to circle ourselves with one another and see different styles of what can help us. Asking questions is a big part of it.
Yeah.
If you're stuck on something, and you've done your research, do your part first, and then bring it to the rest of the the sanctuary, or those that are in it, to see what they can now present and give guidance on. Again, we're not in this in and of ourselves. We have to use the tools and resources that we have from one another as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Can we also do like more activities concerning the word?
Yeah, such as, or yeah. So,
Well, I mean, you know how like you give assignments and stuff like that. I do find myself learning more when you do that.
right. Yeah, and I'm going to be doing more of that myself. What I'd like for you guys to do is not be so dependent on me. And what I mean by that is that, like, during the week, when Quest was doing the session during the week, you guys know some of those things yourself. You can present certain things and step up and do different activities. Like, even we talked about a movie night. Everybody's waiting for me to present it. I can't do everything. I'm not going to. So somebody else has to present those different aspects and step up to make those different activities happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's a plethora of things that we can do, and you guys are capable of doing it. So it's an opportunity for for us to shine and people to do what they say that they want to do and make it happen. All right.
Okay.
Now, Charity, did I answer your question at all, or did I help at all with what I said?
Your Majesty, I have discovered the body of an Egyptian overseer. He has been slain. It
Charity.
appears that one of the responsible
I guess I'll figure it out this week and let you know.
slain.
Okay.
Find its evil.
Because I'm not sure.
Okay. Of which part?
I just need to try to apply some of the things that you said, and I guess for one is figure out I guess it's like I don't want to be reading along, but also just even the things that we talked about today, I
Mhm.
can take my same notes, and that's what I was going to actually do, is take my notes and give myself something to study on.
Right.
And then that way I won't just, I don't want to use the word aimlessly reading, because I mean, it's it's not like a book to just sit down and just read.
Exactly.
So so I'm like, okay, well, let me take some of the notes I did today and then study the things that we've discussed, and then see then, and just kind of, so that was my plan.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's what I consistently say um in regards to studies and not just reading. And most people, even in this sanctuary, still really read. They really don't study. We don't see the outcomes of that. And I'm not getting on anybody by any means, but it's the truth of the matter. When we study a specific topic, we need to be able to walk away with understanding of that topic. Those are the questions. If you want to know about Noah's Ark per se, then you want to study and find out what Noah's Ark was, what it's really about, and get the full understanding of that. If you want to know about who David and Goliath, what that whole, the story that was told to you before, and what the truth of the matter is, then, you want to study those things out and not just read it for the fable that was presented to you.
Understood.
Yeah. So, and that is, it's not easy. So, I don't want to ever present it like it is. But that's part of, what we have to endure in our studies and being part of the body.
Yeah.
So, and I can tell you from my perspective again, and I know I've mentioned to other people here, but I study based on topical matters. I don't I don't I rarely just read to be reading. That's boring to me. That it serves no purpose for me. When it comes to the scriptures anyway. Now I can go to the books and read some chapters, and then, come across things that now I'm seeing a subject matter that I need to focus on and get some understanding. If I don't do that, then it serves me no purpose. That's how I operate. So for my teaching style and learning style, I have to understand certain subject matters, what's coming out of this for me, and how it's going to be presented. Um, and I learn from different formats, first of all. So it can be audio, video, it can be um, hard copy, soft copy, things that I can go back to, but I definitely want something tangible that I can reflect upon, and seeing where, those things resonate from the scriptures. So I don't have one particular way that necessarily stands out, but I definitely want to be able to see the parallels and understanding why someone says what they say. So I go through a lot of different people's teachings, and based on what they're saying and what they're showing is not reflective of what the Most High, and the Ruach has shown me in other instances, where if I raised my hand and spoke to them about those things, it would be different. But I'm not in an environment where I can do that. I'm usually just watching their video or information. But that's where we are to gather. So a lot of times I do want to gather with those people that have other information, not to say that you're wrong or that this, that, and the other, but let's come together and reason these things out, because I'm seeing this, I'm understanding these matters on these precepts and these principles, and you're saying that. Why are you saying this? What are you standing? What is the Most High telling us in His Word? So those are all the things that come to mind that I see when I'm studying a matter. And just to keep in mind too, I don't know what in your career and things like that, but typically people that are analytical are going to analyze the heck out of something. You're going to look at it from various perspectives to see why things are being said, why certain things are being done, and what the foundation of the matter is. And that's how we are to study. All right. So yeah, definitely let us know. And if you come across different things that you have questions on, you can present those questions as well. That's what the group is for.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So that's all I had for today, guys. Any other questions before we dismiss?
No,